Morning.
Good morning.
Tell everyone who you are.
It's Jonesy Jones Crown Jewels Band, Mobile, Alabama.
See why I have my guests introduce themselves? I couldn't have done that. Oh my goodness, you are one of my absolute favorites.
Thank you.
It's so great to have you here. You know, many people have seen you perform.
Right.
I mean, you're coast to coast, international, but they don't get to talk to you.
True.
I mean, who is Yo Jonesy?
Well, Yo Jonesy, I'm born and I call it bred. Born and bred right here in Mobile, Alabama. One of my favorite places to be. Trombonist, lead singer, Crown Jewels Band, tap dancer, a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
You're not kidding. I mean, one of your shows, because, you know, we've been to a couple of them and have been mesmerized by all the talent on your stage. I mean,
Right.
From every single man or woman on that stage with you is just booming.
Right on.
But your show is an experience.
Mm-hmm.
So when somebody books you, what makes you get on the hoverboard?
First, the hoverboard is a toy for me. It's my favorite toy. I used to skateboard as a kid. So once hoverboard came out, I'm like, I'm riding that thing on stage. Next thing you know, people started asking for it. And they're like, how much more for hoverboard? I'm like, oh, we're on to something.
Yes, we are. Because let's be real.
Right.
This is a business.
It is. So
It is
bigger
business.
shows is when I do the hoverboard mostly, you know.
So as you know, it's ironic because you were my very last guest on 92 Zoo for my Tell Me Something Good, and then the coronavirus pandemic hit.
Right,
And it
right.
has impacted us on so many different levels. And, you know, you're in an industry where people, they had appreciation before, but now they really realize when the music's not there, it's not the same type of party.
Right. That's so true. And no one would have ever thought that something like this would happen. So no one was prepared, of course. So at a time where things are uncertain with musicians that we don't have a clue when we're getting back to the stage. So, you know, in the beginning, like the first 2 weeks, we're like, you know, let's jam and have all the time we want to practice. But then it's like, wait a minute, when is this thing going to be over? Because we got to make money. We
That's
got to
right.
get this stage, you know. So it's been different. It's been very, very different.
How have you stayed positive through all of this and really on top of your musical game? Not that you weren't before.
Right.
But I mean, I would think that if you're not performing for shows, whether 2 people or, you know, 2 million people, if you're not performing, you got to make sure that you stay on point.
Right, for sure. Like I said in the beginning, my focus was just practicing the music for shows that were scheduled. Those shows were postponed, so it's like, you know what? It's an issue here. So, like all musicians, I can imagine, I went through like a real low frequency where I was like, I don't know what's next, and I wasn't motivated to do music, motivated to write, and I have all of this free time, and it's like I'm not even motivated because of what's going on. So I had to realize, hey, listen, turn the social media off, turn TV off, because I have to create what I want to see after this. So I started looking at my old videos, looking at some of my favorite artists' videos, just to give me that joy that the stage brings. Once I got into my creative space and put things in front of me that make me smile, my whole energy changed. It changed. It was just like, you know what? It's something good that's about to happen from this. We needed this time to saw, you know, what I call sharpen my saw. We need this time to do that and build. I've read about 4 books during this pandemic. So before I'm like, I can't read. I got something to do. I got to do this. I got to do this. But now
Right.
I'm building myself as an individual and as a musician. So I'm grateful for it.
I mean, I don't know when your first show is going to be when you come back.
I'm ready. I'm
They're
so
going to be
ready.
like, it's 5 hours later. You still playing.
Yes, costume changing. Like I got so many ideas right now.
What is it like to create a song? And of course I want to ask you, will a song come out of this?
Oh yes, for sure. I've wrote a couple of songs. I didn't want to write about Corona, or I didn't want to write about that stuff, and I didn't want to write from a place of hurt either, because I'm always wanting to give people something to uplift them, you know. So I kept myself from writing hurt. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Although that's what it was. So now the song that I'm gonna share with you guys today, a snippet of, it comes from a good place, I think. You know, give us something to believe in. However, but the creation station in writing a song can be, oh man, it's like building a motor.
Ooh, that's deep. Now let me ask you this: what what makes Yo Jonesy Yo Jonesy? Because I mean, it's an experience when you come to your show, and you. It's not just with your ears. I mean, it's with your heart. It's with your head. What goes into making you you?
I'm glad that you said it's an experience, because that's what I want. I want the audience to have an experience. It's an experience for me and the musicians on stage with me. It's more than music to me also, because I feel like I'm a chosen one. For a reason. People listen to me for a reason. I've been given microphones since I was old enough to talk, and I realized with that gift I have to say something. And my duty is to uplift people, to keep the vibration high, you know. So when I'm on stage, I'm using my gifts to do that. To spread the LIP, which is live in peace, to spread self-motivation, self-inspiration, because we need that. And right now, during this time, more than anything, we need the love frequency to be vibrating as high as possible. So I try to stay in high spirits, because I know people look to me for that. You know, even if I'm low, if I'm in a low space, I'm going to go to myself, because I know people depending on me to lift them up. And I'm okay with that. Okay with that.
I like the fact that you understand your purpose.
Right.
You understand your purpose, and you use your gifts for the betterment of all people.
Right.
I think there are many people, and especially this show is coming on, of course, on a Sunday, but many people, they push away from their gifts. They really do. Because it's scary. It's scary to know, because that's a lot of weight on your shoulders.
It is.
But our shoulders are broader than you think.
Right.
I love that. I love that. So, let me ask you this from a musician standpoint.
Okay.
You talk about the mindset of musicians now. Are we better once the pandemic, we get to close the book on this pandemic? Do you think we're better?
I feel all humans will be, because this has given us a time to reflect on things. We've been so busy, this, that, 9 to 5 doing this, never taken a moment to even think and to breathe. Now it's like you got to wear a mask, so you may not even be able to breathe like you should. So we've taken this time to think and create, and knowing our power. We have more power than we think we have. And just to know what's essential to us, once we get back into a normalcy, I would call, we'll be more appreciative and take things, instead of taking things for granted. You know what I mean? I know I'm going to enjoy it. It can be one person in the audience. I'm going to act like it's a million because I know what it's like to have that stripped away and not knowing when I'll be able to entertain someone again.
For those who have not had the pleasure of listening to you, in person or, watch one of your videos, how many instruments? You already know. How many instruments do you play?
Okay.
And please list them.
Okay. Trombone is my instrument. Trombone, percussion, I do bongos and djembe. Also, guitar. Since the pandemic, guitar has been my thing. So coming to the stage, okay? And I just play around with all strings instruments. So, and vocal, that's it right now. I mean, I play percussion, but I wouldn't call myself a percussionist like for the set yet. But it's in counting.
I know you talked about being a part of music before you could probably barely walk.
Right.
Are you, did you go to school for this?
Well, I went to performing arts school. I started music in church with my mom. My mom is a singer. My dad had a gospel band, and I was the lead singer. And my brothers played.
Wait. Do many people know that?
A lot of people don't.
Well, real quick, give me a church hymn that you would go to.
This is a St. Joseph church hymn. I love the Lord; He heard my cry. My grandma be happy to hear that.
Yeah, go ahead, Grandma.
Yeah,
and that's really where a lot of our talented musicians. That's where they get their start, in the church.
Right.
Oh
right.
My goodness.
So that's where I started with them doing that, and realized that I really want to do music and dance. And my mom sent me to Dunbar, and from there I went to LaFleur, and from there I did University of South Alabama, Faulkner. So I have a degree in music, also in theology.
Do you think people are surprised to hear that because they see the final product, they see the finished product, but they don't know how much you've been pouring into your own career?
Yeah, I don't know if people know the history of it, but once, like you said, it's an experience. So me being on stage, I take the Broadway act of it. Like I see myself doing Broadway shows from, all over the world, however, having dancers come in, backdrops and different light changes. Even if I'm at a bar, that's the idea that I want to present.
So somebody books you immediately. Where does your mind go into? Do you do a walkout of, where you're performing?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, walk me through this process.
Well, once I'm booked, the venue, I need to know about the venue so I know how much space, if I can hoverboard through that thing or not. So that's very important.
That is important.
Once I know that, and then we're on from there. But a lot of times, depending on what the people want, I have about 350 songs in our song bank. So we can choose, and we can create any type of theme show. But if it's just our show, Crown Jewel show, most of the times we're going to do our original songs and to our favorite covers.
Oh, my goodness. And your bandmates, what do you want to say about them when it comes to their talents and what they bring to the table?
I've been extremely blessed to have worked with musicians in my journey, on this journey, phenomenal musicians. Every musician that I've had in a band with me are phenomenal. If I could have them all now, we'd have one big orchestra. I would keep them all. They're great guys. And I have to say great guys because I don't work with a lot of females. But the guys in my band, I really can call them kings. They're very talented, and if they're not as talented as they think, by the time they get under my wing and my positive thinking,
there you go.
Next thing you know, they're on a level that they never could imagine. And I'm still on that journey as well. So
I know that's right, because when you love what you do, you're constantly, fine-tuning your craft, sharpening that saw.
Right.
What about practice? I mean, on a normal week, let's say pre-coronavirus pandemic, how many hours are you putting in?
Ooh, no. When I was in college, they recommend 5 hours on each instrument. I was doing 2 instruments, which is vocal and trombone, so that's 10 hours a day.
Not a week.
Not a week, a day.
A day.
This is what they want. I used to think, oh my God, how can I do anything else?
Right.
So I always felt behind, But as an adult, with music being the only thing that I do, I have that time to do it. And with the band, we rehearse once a week, at least 4 hours, and that's our time together. And I don't call that a rehearsal; I call it a session, because you rehearse on your own time. So
clearly, I don't have a band, because I said it incorrectly.
Well, rehearsal is your own thing. It's kind of like meditating.
Okay,
you fine tuning yourself.
So the session.
The session is we get together, and that's when you create. That's when you crown the music.
Who do you look up to in the industry?
In the industry,
yes.
Oh, it's so many people. So many people. Oh. Man, all right. I'm just going to tell you one of my favorite artists.